The disgraced President Donald Trump has repeatedly voiced concerns about the Panama Canal, describing it as a foolish gift to Panama that should never have been made. He's even suggested the US should reclaim control of the vital transport corridor, further alleging that China operates it, a false claim he reiterated during his inauguration, despite providing no evidence. Trump declared, "China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back." These statements have drawn attention to China's involvement in the region, but what role does China actually play, and who ultimately controls this critical waterway for passenger vessels, but also for cargo and military ships? Is Donald Trump creating an unwanted solution in search of a problem? The Panama Canal is a 51-mile passage connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. It was constructed and owned by the United States in the early 1900s. However, under the 1977 Torrijos-Carter treaties, control of the canal was transferred to Panama in 1999, ensuring its neutrality in perpetuity. The canal has since been operated by the Panama Canal Authority, the ACP, a Panamanian government agency, addressing long-standing Panamanian demands for sovereignty over the canal. President Jimmy Carter argued the transfer would ensure the canal's neutrality and improve U.S.-Panama relations. The decision remains a key part of Jimmy Carter's legacy, reflecting his commitment to diplomacy and fairness in international relations. Today, the United States remains the canal's largest user, accounting for about 75% of the cargo that passes through annually. China follows as a distant second. Trump's claims about China's control seem to stem from the presence of a Hong Kong-based company, Hutchison Ports, which operates two ports near the canal, Balboa on the Pacific side and Cristobal on the Atlantic side. These ports are among 5 adjacent to the canal, with others owned by various foreign companies, including American firms. Hutchison Ports, part of the C.K. Hutchison Holdings conglomerate, owned by Hong Kong billionaire Li Ka-shing, was granted concessions to operate the Balboa and Cristobal ports in 1996. These contracts allow the company to manage the ports but not own them, with the facilities remaining under Panamanian jurisdiction. In 2021, the company's concession was extended for another 25 years. In response to concerns about Chinese influence, the U.S. State Department stated in 1999 that it found no evidence suggesting that the People's Republic of China could control canal operations. This position was reiterated by China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning, who recently emphasized China does not participate in the management and operation of the canal and has never interfered in its affairs. Despite official assurances, MAGA Republican officials have sown propaganda about China's presence near the canal, questioning whether Chinese companies could be coerced by Beijing to disrupt operations during a conflict or trade dispute. The show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Every January brings you 365 blank pages waiting to be filled. This year, maybe you're ready for a plot twist, or maybe there's a part of your story that you've been wanting to revise. Life isn't about resolutions that fade by February. It's about picking up the pen and becoming the author of your own life. Think of therapy as your editorial partner, helping you to write new chapters and create the meaningful story you deserve to live. I started talking therapy in 2015, and it's something that has given my life balance, enabling me to understand myself a little bit more. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. Access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialities. Easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. Write your story with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/5minute today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/5minute. Panama's inclusion in China's Belt and Road Initiative in 2017 has also raised eyebrows. The initiative, which promotes foreign investments tied to Beijing's broader geopolitical ambitions, has drawn criticism for creating dependencies on Chinese financing and infrastructure. Some analysts believe Trump's rhetoric may be aimed at curbing China's growing economic influence in Latin America, where Beijing has persuaded several nations, including Panama, to sever diplomatic ties with Taiwan. Critics argue that Trump's false arguments serve as a political tool rather than a factual critique intended to pressure Panama into distancing itself from China. Panamanian officials have consistently rejected claims of foreign interference in canal operations. The former Panamanian president, José Raúl Mulino, emphasized the canal's neutrality, asserting the canal is and will remain Panama's. The Panamanian government even filed complaints with the United Nations regarding Donald Trump's threats. To address concerns about transparency, Panamanian authorities recently launched an audit of Panama Ports Company. The audit aims to ensure compliance with concession agreements, including proper reporting of income and contributions to the state. Hutchison Ports responded by reaffirming its commitment to transparency and compliance, noting it had undergone previous audits without issue. While Trump's rhetoric about the Panama Canal and China may resonate with his supporters, the facts tell a different story. The canal remains firmly under Panamanian control, operated by the ACP. China's presence is limited to port operations under long-standing commercial agreements, and there is no evidence suggesting that Beijing controls the canal or its operations. Nevertheless, concerns about Chinese influence in Latin America persist, particularly as Beijing deepens its economic ties in the region. Trump's remarks may reflect broader anxieties about China's growing global footprint, but they fail to accurately portray the canal's ownership and management. Donald Trump is desperate to paint China as America's enemy on trade. In reality, the trade relationship between the United States and China is one of the most significant and complex in the global economy. It has evolved over decades. It's characterized by mutual interdependence, competition, and occasional tension. China is a leading exporter to the US, providing goods like electronics, machinery, furniture, and textiles. The US exports products such as agricultural goods, soybeans, corn, aircraft, and machinery to China. The trade relationship is marked by a significant imbalance, with the US importing far more from China than it exports, and the trade deficit has been a recurring point of contention in US policy discussions, with critics arguing it undermines US manufacturing and jobs, which basically struggle to compete with China's rapid manufacturing base. This US-China trade war, initiated in 2018 under the Donald Trump administration, imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of goods. This was aimed at reducing the trade deficit and addressing concerns about intellectual property theft and forced technology transfers, but ultimately was paid for by American consumers. While the relationship remains strained, both countries benefit from the economic interdependence, something that Donald Trump simply fails to understand. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.